3.
Yeah, welcome to Drinkin, bros. Kids, we are back in Austin, Texas. We had a lovely time in Tennessee, D'Anthony. But a storm's heading over to the East Coast now. I feel like we got out of there just in time. It's going to affect flights all up and down the coast for the next few days. If you're in Florida, hopefully you'll stay safe. We got a special guest on the show today. We've got adult film star Maitland Ward. Maitland, where are you at today?
I'm in Los Angeles, but I am hearing about the storm from a lot of people in like Florida and everything. So it's terrible. So I'm sending love out to everybody who's going through that right now.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, how much love though, at this point?
So much love. Okay. Like all of my heart is, no, seriously. I have several friends in Florida and they're really hurting. So I'm,
Yeah, it's pretty crazy out there.
Yeah, really crazy.
So you're in Los Angeles currently. You've got a new book out called X-Rated. Rated X. I apologize. Look, it wouldn't be Drinkin' Bros if I didn't fuck up the intro. So we're good to go on that at least. But you have such a crazy life story that I think this book is obviously worthy of a biography about your life. Everybody knows you from starring on Boy Meets World as a young lady on TGIF. And then you made the switch at some point to adult films. What was the reason behind that?
Oh, it was such a long journey. I think people think, oh, they see me on TGIF and then, time passes and they kind of don't realize that a lot of time has passed. And they think, oh my God, she turned to porn. And that was just like an overnight decision. And it really wasn't. It was, and the book shows, it really was a journey for me as a person and as a woman, and finding my sexuality and what I wanted to do in life and how I wanted to explore that. So it was I would say it was a very slow process, and like I wouldn't have been able to dive in like right at once. It was kind of like a lobster boiling. Like if you're in the water and the water gets turned up slowly over time, it's like you're boiling, but you're there. Like so. But yeah, I really found myself as a woman and in my sexuality, and I found that I love sexual performing. I'm really good at it. I hope my fans think so. I think.
Oh yeah, look, you're one of the best in the biz, and we're not shy around here. We've had a bunch of porn stars on the show before, and we have our faves. You are one of them, but you mentioned about jumping into the lobster pot there. I mean, you really did, by the way. I mean, there's some, because I'm looking at Pornhub right now. I mean, there's some gangbangs in there that are pretty intense.
Oh, I'm not, listen, people, when I went into business, I didn't want people to think I was just using it as like a lot of stars do, as like having sex tapes or just like using a little bit of the sex business to get popularity and then go right back to mainstream and everything. So, I wanted to prove that, look, I have street credit. I have anal, I got gangbangs, I got everything. I have a DP coming up this week.
You just got to do a snuff film and murder somebody.
Yeah, that's it. Snuff film is next.
I don't go that far. But my DP on deeper.com this week is my first. So that's exciting. But yeah, I don't like shy away from all of the hardcore stuff. I do it all.
So are you married in real life then?
Yes, I'm married. I've been married since 2006, and he's been such a part of my journey. I would actually not have been in porn if he hadn't recognized that I really needed to do this, because I started out like doing my own content and stuff where I was doing like girl stuff, and he, of course, he was fine with that. There was no issues there. But then he saw like I had all of these like sexual fantasies and scenes that I wanted to play out, and I was like talking more about like my, I wrote erotic like fiction and scenes and stuff. And he saw that you really need to try this. These are things that you really want to do and that you're good at it. And he was instrumental in helping me like bridge that gap. And in my first like content shoots, which were not the big scenes that you see on the sites or anything, they were like in hotel rooms and stuff, and just like we were testing it out, and he was right there with me, and we were seeing how he felt about it. And we were so lucky getting two very established male porn stars that really helped me along the way and made us both feel comfortable. And then I found out I love doing all this stuff, and I keep losing my head from earphones.
Oh, that's fine. Because you mentioned you have like your first DP scene this week. How does that convo go down at your house with your husband of like, hey, hun, I've got a DP scene today. I just want to kind of chill out and have some Hot Pockets tonight. I can't fuck later. I apologize.
Well, actually, I don't think the DP scene was actually a big thing of conversation because I've gone so far. I think like I've done so much like on Deeper and stuff, which is the site I'm the contract face of. I've done gangbangs. I've done like the DP wasn't the thing that like we had to really discuss along the way. Actually, we have discussed I want to do all of these things, and it was kind of like I couldn't accomplish all these things just in my marriage. And marital sex is so different than like when you're doing porn sex and stuff. So it's like I wouldn't really have a DP in my marriage, but it's something that I really wanted to do, and like a gangbang and like just multiple people in the scene and like bondage stuff and like dungeon stuff and all that. So porn really gives me the chance to, explore all of my sexual sides, experience all these things in a very safe situation. I know people think, oh my God, porn is so dangerous and scary. It's really a controlled, safe situation. We're all tested every 2 weeks for STDs. We're all, we have to all sign paperwork and consent forms and talk about it ahead of time and what we're going to do. So and the people are professional. They don't expect like if you were out there finding, men to do this with, there might be some emotional attachments or situations that were uncomfortable. This is like, I have professionals that show up, know what they're doing, do a great job. I have a great time. We perform and then they go home. Not weird. We're all friends. Like my husband is friends with guys that I perform with like regularly.
And do you guys go to dinner together? And what's the convo at dinner of like, hey, did you like having sex with my wife? How did the scenes go today? Because it's such an awkward conversation to have.
Or if the scene is the following day, it's like, hey, don't eat too much.
Yes. Because we've had that discussion before.
Anal,
yeah.
You have to do anal. You don't want to eat too much either.
We've had that conversation on the show before with somebody else. And we said, hey, come and meet us for dinner. And they were like, look, I can't have dinner right after the interview because I've got this anal scene tomorrow.
Yeah. I have a whole chapter in the book on anal and anal preparation, but I have to say, I don't have as much trouble with anal as some girls do, like with cleaning out, with taking it. Like I have a good asshole for anal. That's all I'm going to say for that. And I discovered it along the way that I really can, pack a punch with it. But honestly, if we're going out to dinner with the guys that I've had sex with, actually we did recently, the guy that I did a DP with, he was at my book signing. We had a nice dinner at one of my book signings, and we don't talk about the actual sex of it. It's weird. He has a wife too, so it's like, no, that's just left on the set. It's not like something like, oh, let's talk about the sex. Like, we won't talk about it.
No, yeah, because you're always curious because most of these relationships go south. And when you said you've been married for, over 15 years now at this point, I'm sure you guys aren't going anywhere now. I'm surprised you don't have like an OnlyFans or something like that. Do you?
I do. I have one of the biggest OnlyFans, actually. Yeah, I make 6 figures a month on it.
No way. That's great. So I don't have one. I don't have an OnlyFans.
I do both. I do the scene sites or the site scenes, sorry, and then also my OnlyFans and stuff. And then I have a Fleshlight too.
Gotcha, because some people are contracted. So we've had porn stars on in the past.
I am contracted.
Oh, so you're contracted as well, and now you're allowed to do OnlyFans and everything else?
Yeah, and part of my contract with Deeper and Vixen is, I get to do my OnlyFans because I make so much money on it, and it's just, part of my deal. So some people are contracted; they can't do that, but you're
above it.
That was part of my negotiations. Like,
yeah,
I wasn't going to give that up.
And I recently saw one of your co-stars, Will Friedle. He said that he supports your decision to do porn. However, he's never watched it.
Yeah,
I don't believe that whatsoever, obviously. We're all going to take a peek-sees at a past coworker if some wild shit goes down.
Will is amazing. He has told me on several occasions he will never watch anything I do. And somebody joked, I was at some other podcast that I was doing or interview, and they were like, why is he protesting so much? Why is he saying he's never watched? And I see if it was me, I would take a peek of him if he was doing porn. I would look.
Oh yeah,
I look at dudes' dicks in the urinal. All the time.
I mean, we look at dudes' dicks in the urinal. You know that, right? Like, I'll take a peek over just to see what they're doing.
I always wondered about that.
Yep.
Like seeing, like comparing yourselves. Yeah.
It's not about comparing. It's just about,
just seeing.
Just seeing shit. It's the same reason people slow down when there's an accident.
Yeah. You want to see that dead body. You want to see that hog on somebody else, I'll take a peek over.
And have you ever looked at another urinal and been like, whoa, that guy is massive?
Oh, 100%. And we've done it on this show before. We've pulled up some of our favorite cocks on other celebrities that we're proud of, and we're like, holy shit. John Mayer's one of them on this show that we've pulled him up before.
Yeah, I heard John Mayer. I heard.
Two-hander, that guy.
Wow.
Yeah, look at just.
I bet freehanders.
I'm looking at some of the footage now. I don't even know. This isn't even safe to slide down inside of a firehouse. I mean, that's massive. Some of the dick you're taking here in these. Do you know beforehand? Do you study up on people before you get there the next day?
You know what? Yes, I'm lucky though. Some porn stars, or a lot of them, don't know who they're having the next day on like their scenes. I am very fortunate. I get to kind of choose who I want. So I kind of see, would I like this person? Do you think I'd be attracted to this person? So I kind of pick people that I would, I think I'd have a chemistry with or be attracted to or whatever. So I do a little research. I do know their dicks pretty much. I mean, but you can't even tell in the picture how in person, like it's just amazing that these guys have such big dicks. They are literally arms.
Yeah.
It's amazing, but it's also, it's very thrilling and it's a challenge for me. And I enjoy it.
Well, look, when you do what you love, you never work a day in your life. And that's amazing.
Yes.
Yeah. And that's above my kitchen with my kids and all that stuff. And I'm sure they'll be amped to hear this today. But like you take a Gary Owen, for example. Is it Owen Gary or Gary Owen? Whenever somebody's got two first names, I always fuck it up.
It's Owen Gray.
Oh, it's Owen Gray. That's it. God,
Owen Gray, yes.
Gary Owen.
Gary Owen's Gary Owen.
Yeah, that's the comedian. Yeah.
Yeah, that's right.
Maybe I have no idea.
Yeah, how is he?
I have not been with Owen Gray, but I met him and he was in a movie of mine that I wasn't in his scene, but yeah, he's massive too. Yeah.
Yeah. I've seen a lot of him. You also have a lot of black guys in your stuff. Is that by your preference or is that the audience?
You know what? It's funny, and I'm honestly saying this. When I first started out, one of my first like huge scene was Blacked for Vixen, and I didn't even think about like race stuff. I didn't even think about it, and like and people were like, "Wow, you take black guys," and it's like, what? That's not a big deal for me at all. I didn't even like conceptualize that. And yeah, it's just who I'm attracted to. And yeah, I've been attracted to black guys, white guys, whatever, who's ever good at the sex and stuff. So I haven't thought about like it being a race thing or anything. It's just who I like.
Well, I didn't know if they paired you guys up, because this is my guess, right? And all the questions that I've ever wanted to know, I usually ask when somebody like you's on the show. Like whenever with a lot of black guys with the complexion of your skin and everything, with it being super white like that, it just kind of looks cool on screen. You ever think that's the reason?
Well, I think aesthetically, anybody who you're paired with, they want it to look really beautiful. And I think that is true, that it does, it looks nice because it's just, our complexions matching up with stuff. But, you know what, honestly, I don't have conversations like this. It's always like, oh, do you like this performer, and I get the choices and stuff. And I'm like, yeah, I'm attracted to this one. I'm attracted to this one. I'm not thinking about like race or anything like that. And it's honestly a true statement. When, and I talk about in the book, like I got a lot of feedback because the first guy that I ever worked with is an amazing black performer. And this was on my content and everything. And I talk about how people came at me and said, oh my God, you're interracial and all this. And I wasn't even conceptualizing that would ever be a thing. And I had people on my Instagram and stuff being terrible about it. And it just really opened my eyes to that kind of thing. And, but yeah, so it's something that I just pick who I'm attracted to. And
Yeah, we don't see race here on the show either. D'Anthony and I don't at all.
No.
Or gender, and neither do you, because there's also a lot of sex scenes with women that you have. Some of our faves on there. Angela White is on there.
Oh, yes.
Yeah.
That was my favorite movie. Yes.
How does that work? Do you get to call her? Does she call you? Or does the company put you guys together?
The company did it. That was my first movie, the one that really blew up on the internet drive on Deeper. She was already cast in it. Like before I had done the black scene because I wanted to do it. I wanted to do a really hot, they do beautiful stuff. So I was like, I really wanted to do a beautiful production where it was like, the pictures and the aesthetics and everything was just gorgeous. And so I did it, and it came out on a Saturday, and it blew up. Like I didn't even announce it to press or anything, or didn't do any podcasts, didn't do any interviews or anything. But on the internet, people found out Rachel was on Black. So she's doing porn now. So it really, it actually crashed their site that day. And it was just broke all the records for their numbers. But Caden Cross, who just launched Deeper.com under the brand of Vixen. Vixen has all the sites like Black Draw, Deeper, all those ones.
Sure.
So she had just launched it about 4 months earlier. And then she was doing her first big feature film, because Deeper is the feature film, the award-winning kind of brand that does the lengthier, like more cinematic productions. Mm-hmm. And Angela was in that production, but there was a co-lead with her that they lost on that Saturday, the same day my Black scene came out. And then Caden thought she had to scrap the production, because it's very hard to find somebody in porn who can handle a lot of dialogue very fast, do a very lengthy production. They were under deadline. So she went to Vixen that Monday morning and said, I think we lost the co-lead. I don't think we can do this. And then they said, well, talk to Maitland. She's an actress and she just broke all the records. You can do this if you have Maitland.
Yeah.
And so we talked that day. I got the script and it was amazing. It was like what I've dreamed of doing. It was like a full scripted piece that would have great acting for me and directing and everything involved in it. And so I talked to her at a Starbucks that afternoon, and the rest was history. We decided to do it. And that's how I got co-star with Angela, because she was already in it. But the funny thing is, in that production, Angela and I did not actually have sex. I was her sexual persona. I was leading her down this dark path of, all this, she was kind of like a straight-laced kind of girl in the film, and I was leading her down a debaucherous path.
So you were like the devil on her shoulder or some shit?
Kind of, yeah. I was. I wasn't like a real person in that thing. We have had sex last year in an orgy. But but in that film, people think that we had some big sex scene, but we actually didn't. I just I rubbed her vagina for a little bit.
Okay.
Yeah. But I led her to all of her sexual.
I don't think Bill Clinton wouldn't consider that sex.
No, he wouldn't.
No,
he wouldn't.
But it's funny that people think oh, you guys had sex in that film. Even if they saw it, they think it.
Yeah, it's just one of those things where you see the thumbnails and everything else that goes around, and you're like, all right, great. So yeah, because that's kind of what it is. And, we've had this discussion as well with these thumbnails and with these titles. Why is it always stepsister, stepdad, mom, dad? Why is it so incestuous these days as far as titles go?
I've never done an incestuous film. I've never had a stepmom, stepdad, any kind of film that I've ever done. So I don't understand that. We don't do a lot of that. We don't do a lot of that at Vixen and Deeper, like the step family. That's a lot of Brazzers kind of stuff. They do that a ton.
Are you talking shit about Brazzers?
Yeah.
I did a little shit about Brazzers because I had a scene at Brazzers. I did do a scene right after I did my Black scene, and it came out later, but and everybody was nice, but I got a picture script, sketches of what we would do in the scene with no dialogue at all. And I was like, what is this? They don't even say my name in it. It was just no, they give them out to people. they like literally give the scripts out to, two other people did that same script. And I wasn't happy with that. I'm not hating on them because I think Brazzers is more like the fast food of porn, and that's fine.
So like it kind of looked like a Waffle House menu then. No words, just pictures.
No, it was literally sketches of a girl in a pool. This is how we're going to film you, and that's how it's going to happen. And I was like, and I just come up with a black scene, and I had a script there, and I got to act, and it was really fun to be back on the scene like that and acting like that. And then it was like, wait, I got to pitch your script the next one. So,
now that you said it, actually, if you think about it, that's probably what they do there. And then in post, they'll put whatever thumbnail they want, and they'll title it whatever they want, simply for that. I mean, probably for that exact reason of, look, we can turn whatever generic thing we shoot into a catchy thumbnail or a title, and then just repurpose it over and over again. As long as we get the scenes in the can, we're good to go, right?
Right. And I mean, I know a lot of great people who perform for them and stuff, but it's fine. But people think that's the only thing out there. A lot of people think like Brazzers style stuff that's it. That's what porn is. But we're actually, at Deeper and Vixen making cinematic pieces. We're at full scripts and really putting a lot of production value into it and stuff, and a lot of thought and a lot of dialogue. I mean, in one of my last movies, I had a 3-page monologue solid. Like I was in 750 lines. So it's not like just your regular average every day. And you know what? Your regular average every day is fun. I like that. I like the fast food element, just having fun. But then there's also the steak dinner too. And I enjoy the steak dinner more, personally.
Yeah, absolutely. And with your amount of followers, I'd imagine people still want you in mainstream movies as well too, right?
Yeah, it's been amazing. Actually, I've gotten more respect and more interest for mainstream and everything since I've made a splash in porn, and I've made my brand, and I've built my following, my business and everything. So it's amazing. Like before I did it, people would say, oh, porn would ruin your career in anything quote unquote mainstream or whatever. And it's like, it's so interesting because it's actually broadened my horizons, I guess, because people respect like what I did and like how I took control of my own career and my story and everything. And my following too, because I have such great fans that really, I mean, I would never have been able to do it without my fans. And people say that, but I honestly would never have been able to do it without my fans, and also press people that I, who picked up on my story and really catapulted me, because Hollywood was telling me, you can't do anything sexy if you're not, under 25. And you can't do anything sexy, period, because you've been on Boy Meets World. So,
yeah.
So it was like, or do anything different that you wanted to do. And so my fans followed me along the way, and then and press picked up on it. And that's how it kind of snowballed. And here I am.
I guess that's a pretty common thing for young female actors that are on wholesome content, right? Remember Jessica Biel had that whole thing that split with Seventh Heaven. Yep. And then she did that movie with Ray Liotta where she's like a stripper, but his daughter, and he's trying to figure shit out, or what it's called.
Correct, because she was trying to change her career at the time, because it is hard getting out of that. One of my best friends was on a TGIF show, Christine Lakin. She's been on this show numerous times from Step by Step. And like talking to her about trying to get out of that world and the things she had to fight for going up the ladder. She's not in adult film or anything, obviously, but she's one of the directors of the Goldbergs and a ton of stuff. But everybody knows you as a kid, and then what happens is you grow up, you don't look the same anymore, and people look at this resume and they're like, wait a minute, will the audience still remember who this is? And then, now this person doesn't really have a name anymore. We got to kind of try to figure it out and see if they would be big enough to lead these productions and all that other stuff. And then an odd thing happened along the way, right around 2014, 15, social media became bigger than all of it. So if you had a huge following, now all the casting directors care about how many Instagram followers do you have, TikTok, Twitter, everything else, and how can you promote a movie versus, great, what was the last thing you were in? They don't really give a shit about that. They want you to go and sell the thing that you're currently doing.
Right. Yeah, that's actually my trajectory in a lot of ways, because I feel the same thing. Like I was being typecast as that thing I was in my youth. But then they wouldn't let me do anything different. They were always like just thinking, oh, you were on that show, but we like you in this little box we put you in, but like, we'll only pull you out like every so often, like Christmas ornaments or something, like for a reunion show or for something like that. And I really felt like I was being typecast and I couldn't do anything more. And I wanted to do so much more. And you're totally right. If social media had not blown up around the time that, well, it was when Girl Meets World, the spinoff from Boy Meets World came around, that there was so much renewed attention in the show and in the cast. And so social media was really, actually Instagram was really starting at that time, or at least I was starting. I only had like 1,000 followers at first, and they were mostly my friends. And then I started like putting up pictures, sexier pictures of like when I visited the set of Girl Meets World, and they blew up and I started really getting a following. And if I didn't have social media, I couldn't have done what I've done. And you're right. Mainstream now respects like big followings, and they look for that.
Yeah. And it's switched. I mean, you're making more money than probably everybody in movies right now or on a Netflix show a year. Swear to God. I mean, you see what the contracts are. Residuals are non-existent pretty much on streamers. Yeah. You're probably making more just off of Deeper and OnlyFans than 98% of Hollywood, 99% of it, I would imagine, especially a woman.
Yes, absolutely true. Absolutely true. And people say, oh, she had to turn to porn. If they say that, I don't know. But it's like, I had to have a successful business and make a lot of money and have, fans and be able to act and write now and direct and stuff on the brands. And it's exciting and a lot of porn girls are making more than most mainstream actors. And I hate saying mainstream because I think porn is so mainstream because everybody watches porn. Not everybody watches an art film on Netflix,
Yeah. Well, nobody watches those anymore. Netflix doesn't even buy them anymore.
No, but Netflix is making basically softcore porn quite a bit. Right?
Oh, they're ramping it up.
I think that there is a way to actually have real porn and mainstream cross into a new genre where it's like, maybe there's not as lengthy of sex scenes, but maybe there's some sex, maybe there's a little sex. That's what I want to do.
There's actually a lot of it. They just picked up another show maybe 3 days ago.
Yeah.
On there, the last one was it Sex Life? I remember that guy's hog in the shower at 19 minutes and 40 seconds.
That was a while.
Hog in that guy.
That was a while back. They released 365 Days 2 years ago, and since then they've released. Since then they've released 2 or 3 more of them. They were shooting them in like 6 weeks, editing them, and putting them out.
Yeah.
Which is, whatever.
But they're great for ratings, and that's what people want. So, I don't think it matters anymore.
I don't think it matters either. I think we've totally gone over. It's like, it's interesting because like older people, I would say, and I'm not saying they're old, but they're like, if you're over a certain age, like 50s, 60s, that age, they grew up with having to go behind the curtain at the video store to watch porn or sneaking some video out of their father's drawer or whatever. Now it's like, I think that people in their 20s and 30s are really, they watch internet porn so easily accessible, and they think it's normal, and it is normal. And I think that's really it's really shifting that way, especially with the younger generations.
Yeah, and the other thing that's shifting is the way to monetize it. Because I know porn was in trouble for a while after VCR tapes ended and DVDs ended. Same with independent film in Hollywood. Once the DVD sales were gone, everybody was like, oh shit, how do I get paid from doing this? And then it went online and people were watching porn online. It was like, all right, how do they get paid then? And then you had the OnlyFans and everything else where you could really, really monetize it. And now it's turned back in your favor, where there was a good 8 to 10 years where a lot of these guys were starting to go out of business. But now they've been able to turn it around, and you guys make all the money from it. I'm curious, do any of your co-stars take a peek at your salary online and be like, hey, Maitland, thinking about getting into this. How do I do it?
Yeah, somebody in the chat actually asked if you would do a scene with Ryder Strong, but he's...
his name is so good.
Mary. Yeah,
he's got the best porn name of all time.
His parents were trying to get him into the industry.
He has the best porn name, yes. Ryder Strong. But somebody else said, well, Ben Savage is a pretty good porn name, too.
That's true, yeah.
I wouldn't say my Boy Meets World co-stars asked me, but I did have Hollywood people I worked with in, different productions and stuff, mainstream, did call me and during the pandemic especially. Like when we were in lockdown and OnlyFans was really blowing up.
Yep.
They would say, oh, you know, maybe they wouldn't say it straight out. They wouldn't want to like maybe do a scene with me, but they were like, how do I get on OnlyFans? How do I maybe like one couple asked me who the guy's an actor and the wife's not an actor, but they wanted to like see if they could do like maybe where they didn't show their face.
Oh, yeah.
And I was like, they have done that. I don't know if they actually went through with it, but there are faceless people that do that. But honestly, during the pandemic, people wanted to, you know, they saw the money in OnlyFans and they really wanted to capitalize on that. So, and I think a lot of mainstream people actually did, and they came out, you know, with, they didn't do porn necessarily, but they sell their stuff on OnlyFans.
Yeah, it's getting close. That line's getting real blurred.
Very close, yes.
Yeah, we've got some friends who are where we look at them after being on the show. We're like, you give them 6 months.
Yeah,
and they'll be fucking their husband on OnlyFans. Like,
I know. Well, I hope that's the case. I hope more people like embrace porn and being sexual, because it's not a taboo. So it's not a taboo thing anymore, and porn stars don't get like the stigma of that. But like you said, I really think that's changing. I think it is. And OnlyFans has been so instrumental in that, and online content has been so instrumental, because you're right. In the past, it was very hard for performers, like when you said about the VHS and DVD and everything, when there was a period where it was hard to, you know, make money. But then all of a sudden, OnlyFans and all that put the power into the performer's hands to make the money and stuff. And I honestly think that OnlyFans and stuff does help the sites too. People think it takes away all the way, but if people get to know somebody on OnlyFans and they see all their stuff, they're more likely to buy from a site if they're the big fan of theirs. So it's it's a hand-holding situation, I guess.
Well, I also think during the pandemic, everything became more personal, and you wanted to see inside somebody else's house or life and see what they were doing versus watching some scripted, well-lit studio production of porn where they were like, hey, dude, I'm stuck in my house just like everybody else. I want to see my favorite person have sex in their real bedroom at home versus being on a set or in the back of a van down by a river.
Yeah. No, actually, that's very true. And it became personal even on my OnlyFans, and I talk about this, people wanted human connection as well. So I would do a lot of live shows for my OnlyFans and stuff, and half of the show would be really just talking with everyone. They weren't seeing anyone. Like, you couldn't go out, you couldn't like make connections. I was getting requests on my content and for my custom videos that I sell, because people request custom videos of just like date night. They just wanted me to have like a dirty date with them. So like they pretended like I was meeting them at a bar, like in a situation where they couldn't do that then. And so all of a sudden they just wanted to have that connection with me. And then we do the sex stuff after that. I had a headless rubber man who I liked him because his dick was always straight up and he had no head to talk back at me. I called him Quarantine Man.
And that was your partner during this?
That was my partner during my quarantine situation. Yes.
He's the real MVP. Did you name him?
Quarantine Man. That's all I called him. He didn't have a head, so I didn't feel like I couldn't tell his personality.
I didn't know if you want to be like, this is Trevor. You know, Trevor's going through the pandemic. He doesn't have any symptoms, and he's clean, so I'm going to ride Trevor for a little bit.
He can't get me sick because he has no head. So he couldn't like sneeze on me or cough.
You recently took some heat for calling out Kim Kardashian and Paris Hilton for their sex tape fame. Look, I think being in Hollywood, we all knew that it's fake. They obviously staged it and gave it out. Ray J in the last couple weeks has even come out.
He confirmed what I said.
Yeah. He said, look, the contracts were extensive. There was even some scenes that the mom, I guess, wanted her to reshoot because she didn't look great in some of those scenes. You know the process. Can you walk everybody through? Whenever you see a leaked celebrity sex tape, it's not really leaked. I mean, you've got to sign a million release forms.
Like the original, like Pam Anderson one. I believe that was a leaked one because that was before a lot of rules were in place, I think. So honestly, you cannot sell a sex tape anymore inside. Like, you cannot sell a DVD of it or anything if you do not have 2 forms of identification, first of all, of the person and their signature, their film signature, because before every scene that we do, we have to go on film and say, I consent to this. I'm not under the influence of alcohol or drugs. I know I'm going to take, sex stills, and I'm going to have sex on tape. You have your 2 IDs. You fill out all this paperwork. There is no way that it would be legal for them to sell A Night in Paris in the stores without her permission.
Right.
So anytime you see a sex tape now, it is absolutely, they have orchestrated it ahead of time.
She should have gotten a coach or something. If it was all intentional, because she sucks, man.
That was a boring one.
That was the dumbest shit I've ever watched in my life.
Yeah. Do you watch all the celebrity tapes and rate them?
Not all of them, but I remember back then. I remember watching it. I didn't have full interest in it, but yeah, you get interested at the time just because you hear about it and stuff. But I don't examine them for how they do it. But you're right. They should I didn't make a celebrity tape. Definitely. I guess you can consider I did, but I was totally consenting of it and everything. But I think a lot of the celebrities, they don't know how to perform the porn,
Yeah. And then my theory behind it, and we've chatted about this on the show before, is when you're that hot and that famous, you don't really have to do anything to get the guys. Therefore, you're not doing all the crazy sex shit that it would require. Like somebody like a Waffle House waitress, right? That is going to be a greasy night of magic where you're just holy shit.
Tiger Woods wasn't cheating with supermodels. He was banging Walmart employees and shit.
Yeah, because that's where shit got wild.
Yeah.
You're not going to Paris Hilton for the craziest night of your life.
5s and 6s, that's where the deals are at.
Yep.
Yeah, it's true. But the thing that helped me was, like I said, I had porn stars that I was working with, so they knew what they were doing, and they really helped me along. And then they know how to, make it work, so to speak. So I learned a lot that way. And so the people that on the sex tapes, they're not necessarily, they're not professionals.
No, they're definitely not professionals, except for one. There was one that I saw. It was Farrah Abraham.
That was a big setup. Yeah, that was a big setup. What was it? The backdoor Farrah?
Yes, and it was James Dean.
Too.
Yeah, it was.
Oh yeah.
It was James Dean, and when I watched that, it was so professional. I was like, we're not really trying to pass this off as a leaked sex tape, are we?
That's why it was so ridiculous trying to say it was a sex tape with James Dean. Come on.
Yeah. They looked like they were on a sound stage at Paramount. I was like, holy shit, this is well lit. This is incredible.
Yeah.
And it's James Dean. You don't just bump into him out and you're like, hey, what are you doing? You want to come back and bone? And oh my God, there's 4 cameramen in here, and we're shooting it all on reds,
Yeah. No, that's true. It's not. It's it was totally set up. And so I know somebody else, I don't know the brand, but somebody else had offered her a deal that she turned down.
Oh, really?
Yeah. I don't have the details on it, but I know I've heard talk of it. Yeah.
Yeah. And with the Paris Hilton thing, what was that? She got $400,000 or something, and then allegedly gave it to charity.
Yeah. Right. Yeah.
But don't you get residuals on it? I know Ray J gets residuals. All those guys get residuals on it, right?
No, I don't get residuals on the porn necessarily. I mean, I feel there's not really residuals on porn. Unfortunately, I think there should be a union, more of a union that enforces that.
Local 702, right?
Yeah. You need a good union to really enforce those rules. But if memory serves me correct, I think Kim Kardashian, that was part of the deal they cut, where they got a piece of it forever, right?
Oh yeah, if you cut a deal like that, yes, absolutely, yeah.
Yeah.
If you go out and have a contract originally, yeah, you will do that.
For sure, and I'm sure they've obviously offered you spin-offs of your own show, right? Like Boy Meets Whole and stuff like that.
I've had, what's funny though, I've never wanted to do a cheesy spinoff of it, really, because I just, like Boy Meets Whole, yeah.
Yeah.
We did do in this movie we have out now on Deeper, it's called Drift. It's not a Boy Meets World spinoff necessarily, but we do a sitcom kind of a parody, which is very dystopian, a very dystopian parody where it could be 50s, 60s, 70s, and it kind of flashes back and forth. But it was definitely it was cool to be do this sitcom kind of parody, but and then I play America's sweetheart, and it's kind of like a metaphor for my own story, and I'm in this sitcom, And then I walk off stage and I go into the night, and that's where I go down my, trail of debauchery.
Yeah.
And that's where I eventually end on my DP.
I mean, look, that's what usually happens, right, Dan?
It's a tale as old as time.
It sure is. It's like
my life, though, because it was like I was on the sitcom and I kind of, went off stage, I guess, and then found myself and found this I won't say dark, but like this sexual edge to myself, and I took all these chances, and I ended up with the DP.
Yeah, which again, tale as old as time. That's going to happen. Let's say a CBS came along and offered you a bunch of money to do a traditional 3-camera sitcom, but they said, "Hey, you've got to get out of porn." Would you do it?
I would love to do a 3-camera sitcom again. Just because, you know what? I had good advice the other day from an old friend. He said, "You know what? Don't say mainstream and porn anymore. You're an actor playing a role in whatever medium you choose. And right now you're choosing porn, and you love porn." And I don't think I wouldn't give up like my audience and my OnlyFans and everything like that. I wouldn't. But I don't think I would have to make that choice anymore, because they know what they're getting out of me. They know who I am. So I wouldn't turn my back on porn. No, I wouldn't. Although I think the opportunities are there for mainstream, and I hate using that term again.
Sure.
But I think they're there again, and porn is not something like, it's not as taboo and stigmatized as it used to be, where you'd say, give that up. You can't have anything to do with that. I think any kind of sitcom or project I would work on in, Hollywood would definitely know who my audience is and what I do. And I love that I can embrace both worlds.
Yeah. Because I remember Simon Rex had some problems back in the day. Yeah. That's why I ask is, they were eventually like, "Hey, dude, are you going to do this? Are you going to keep doing this one thing or the other and everything else?" And I think eventually they ended up firing from that gig anyway, so it didn't matter.
I remember that.
And that's why I asked, because
he had a great film recently. I mean, his film was amazing.
Crushed. It's getting rave reviews right now, so it is possible to go back and do whatever you want after having multiple careers. And again, I think it's more about the social media and the following these days than it is, for acting and everything else. I mean, even in books, for in advance and stuff like that, all they do is tear apart your back end numbers on your social media because they want you to promote it.
Mm-hmm. That is a huge part of it. And it's so true. If you don't have the social media following and, the fans in order to back it up, that they are looking for that these days. And that is changing things. And that's why there's so much more opportunities for people in the adult industry, or who have, gone off the path of so-called mainstream to come, to have many more opportunities than they did 10 years ago. It would not have happened. I would not have had the opportunities that I have now. I wouldn't have written a book. I wouldn't have been able to write that if it was 10 years ago. But thankfully, social media has been so much a part of that.
Yeah, for sure. We had a guest on the show a few weeks ago who was a Boston nurse who got fired for doing OnlyFans. Some of her, nurses outed her. She's making a shit ton of money, so it's fine.
Yeah, who cares?
Who cares? Who cares? But she said, I know. She said something similar to what you said earlier, where she would get a bunch of wild requests. I'm going to ask you the same question I asked her. What's the wildest shit you've been asked to do that you said no to?
Oh, I actually got advice from an adult performer early on to never do something like a shaming video. Shaming kind of, because I'm like a dominatrix stuff and say you have a little dick or whatever. They like that. But never like call people, like I would never do it anyway, but there are requests where people will want you to humiliate them in such a terrible way that if people saw the videos of that, they wouldn't understand that it was the person wanting that. And it's just not good. It's just not good anyway. And I would never want to have myself seen like that. And I would never want to do that. So, but people do request. There are certain people who request just terrible shaming videos.
The nurse
on their race, sexuality, and it's really disturbing. And I always say no to those. Always.
The nurse had said the same thing.
Oh, she did.
Yeah. She had the same thing. Like, especially a lot of like racial stuff, where she was like, "Dude, if someone clips that, like, I don't want to do it anyway, but like, even beyond that, yeah."
could be this person, like say a person of a certain race wants them to be shamed because of your race. And it's like, they want that, but I don't want to do that. And it would be terrible if it got, people saw that, and I wouldn't want to be seen like that.
Yeah, I can only imagine if somebody was asking you to scream white power in their face.
Yeah.
While you're jacking off or something, you're like, hey, bro.
There's requests. Like, you have to turn those people away.
So you do get a lot of requests like that?
Not a lot. No, not a lot. But there are every so often it comes along, and it's like,
well, she got a request. I think somebody offered her $25,000 for 4 of her teeth.
Yes.
Oh my God, I've never had anything like that.
Yeah. I mean, it was molars, so look, your insurance is going to pay to have them out anyways. It's free money.
Yeah, would you give up a molar? What's the number to pull out a molar?
Well, millions of dollars, maybe.
Because we could try to raise it to get a molar. I'd like to have it, bronzed on set.
Yeah, I can also do the surgery for you. So
yeah,
I had a friend of mine who's a porn star, shave his beard, and he sold his beard hair, which I mean, whatever. But he was afraid later on that they would sprinkle it on a crime scene, and he'd be accused of it. I said, I don't know. I think you'd have an alibi in another state or whatever. But
that's actually kind of genius.
He said he'll never do it again.
Yeah, that's actually kind of genius. How much money would it take for you to shave your beard? Do you have a number?
I'm not motivated by money. There's no amount of money somebody could offer me to do something that I didn't want to do.
I've never seen you without a beard. All these years, there is no number.
No.
And the reason I asked that is, with ZZ Top, that was a thing for years and years and years. And Bob looked this up, but I think they got him to shave it for a Super Bowl commercial eventually. And it was a fuck ton of money. And I want to say it was in the $2 million range for that.
$2 million, your beard does grow back.
Sure does, dude.
Not a molar.
Yeah. Well, you could get an implant. I think you'd be fine.
Yeah, I know. For $2 million, maybe.
He turned down $1 million to shave his beard.
Oh, he said no to that?
Yeah, that's what I'm seeing.
Oh.
Wow. $1 million.
Wow.
Fucking A. I check. Our other producer, Delco Dan, back there is just stroking his beard as we speak. That would be long gone for $10K probably.
Yeah, but it would grow back before the fucking day was out.
It's true.
His hair grows super fast.
Yeah. That's true. What about like scat porn and things like that? Because that's another one where people pay a lot of money to get shit on and things like that.
Yeah, you're right. That's a request too. I don't do that. And also you can't do that on OnlyFans. It's not, even if they don't allow certain things. They don't allow like pee and stuff.
Oh, really? I didn't know that.
They allow squirting, but not, yeah. And so you couldn't even do that. But no, that's not something that I want to do, really. So
what about that thing that Russell Brand was into where you run over people's dick with
wheelchair
a
porn?
Wheelchair,
yeah, wheelchair porn.
You mean just pounding a dick? You know what the wildest request I've had, actually from a porn star, was biting his dick as hard as I could.
Oh, man.
Seems like a
as
bad
hard
idea.
As I could. I thought it was a nibble, but it was hot. I had a good time doing it. So if you like that kind of thing, I will run over your dick. I will bite your dick.
but how hard to the point where you're like, all right, I can bite this thing clean off at this point? How do you know when to lay off?
He kept saying going harder, like seriously. So I wouldn't do it where I drew blood or anything, but like, that's what I was wondering at first, like, when is it going to hurt him? But
yeah.
So I was like, okay, I'm going with that. I'm biting the dick. But I don't know, like, yeah, certain people like their balls really squeezed, and just really like, they want me to be rough. And if you like that, I'm for that. I'll do it. If you want it, if you're consenting to that.
What about having sex with a fan? I saw Angela White again on a podcast the other day, which is why I keep bringing up her name. I watched the whole thing. I think it was Barstool.
Oh, yeah. Great.
Yeah, and they asked her if she'd ever had sex with a fan before. And she said yes, but it took like 18 months worth of interaction on OnlyFans, and she thought the guy was funny, and she eventually agreed to do it. Have you ever had sex with one of your fans?
I would say not in the traditional sense of, but I guess if you know somebody a long time and like 18 months, it's kind of like they're your fan, but you know them. It's not like you just picked them up straight off the street and said, hey, I'm gonna have sex with you. But you know what? I've actually thought about that, to do it like just for fun on my like OnlyFans and stuff. So who knows? I might have a contest coming up.
That'd be great. Yeah, I'm sure everybody and their mother would sign up for that.
Do it for Veterans Day. It's November the 11th.
That's true. Dan's a veteran.
Not for me.
Not for you, but for somebody else on Veterans Day.
There's a lot of veterans out there.
Yeah, there's a ton.
There's several.
Yeah.
A nice Veterans Day video would be great for the nation, I think it would bring us together.
You know what? I'm for that. Maybe that is the idea coming up.
There we go.
Yeah. I think that would be a good one for sure.
Charity for like when they buy the video, I can donate to charity with it.
Absolutely. I know they were doing it down at, what was it, the Sausage Castle down there?
Yeah. Mike Busey's place.
Yep.
Yeah, in Florida.
Yeah.
I mean, it's probably getting wiped out by a fucking hurricane right now.
That's true.
At least it'll clean off all the stuff. You know what I mean? Because
Will
there's
it?
cum everywhere down there.
That place is wild down there. Anybody ever give you a script from Boy Meets World and ask you to read that?
I have custom requests though, actually. Not the actual script. I mean, I guess I've done that, but not for porn. I mean, people have requested, have a script signed or whatever. But I have had a lot of requests to do stuff as Rachel, my character, not on script, but like, can you pretend to be Rachel and be in the shower? Because there's like episodes where I'm in a towel. And so like do the real shower scene that was never shown or whatever. So I do stuff like that. I definitely take like Rachel requests, that kind of, and act like the character. So while it's not like the actual script, it's kind of like, my little take on it.
Yeah, that's awesome. Now I want to talk about your fleshlights. You have your own fleshlights. How does that even start? Do they mold your vagina? And is it an all-day process where they're like, all right, great, we're going to put you up in some syrups and then rubber you up and then go inside and see what the fit is like?
It is like a odd gynecological process, but it's more enjoyable because they give you, a lunch and a nice sweet. And I was in Vegas doing it, so it was like I was overlooking the strip. I think it takes like about a half day. It doesn't take the full day, but yes, you're absolutely like. First of all, you have to get the Hitachi. They give you a Hitachi, and they let you take it home too, but because they don't want to give used Hitachis to everybody.
Yeah.
But. No, but they say, listen, get your flour going but you can't like come. You have to just get it like warmed up because they want your mold to be where you're ready for sex and you're turned on. Because, so it's like more the blood's coming to the surface.
So maybe just like spend a few minutes looking at a picture of Gavin Rossdale or something.
Yeah.
Whatever gets you. They gave me a Hitachi, but honestly, whatever gets you going.
Yeah.
And it gets, so you get revved up and then they put this kind of plastery stuff on you and in you and stuff. And so you do that. But then they also have this wand where they go all the way up in you and get all the little crevices and stuff. Like do it it's pretty cool. Like it's.
Is there a camera on the end of it?
No, it's like, I don't remember what it does exactly, but it's not a camera, but it's kind of like it on the computer. It takes all the little crevices and it like shows up like it's a scan. It's a scanner kind of thing.
Oh, gotcha. And then afterwards, do they send you a prototype? And if so, do you give that to your husband to fuck it and be like, hey, does this really feel like my vagina, yes or no?
I actually did, and he said yes, but he was weirded out by it.
Can you do a blind taste test on something like that?
That would be a good one for the company to line all you guys up, and then because I'm sure one porn star has had sex with a bunch of you guys, and then line them up and be like, all right, whose vagina is this?
You know what's funny? People think like, they're like, you must fuck a million guys. It's like, it's pretty much the pool of porn men is the same pool that all the women have sex with. It's kind of like it's a relationship sort of. We have sex with the same men over and over, which I'm not complaining about because there's only so many men that can do it so well. But yeah, so I think if you did line them up, I think there'd be men that could figure that out.
Oh, 100%. And oddly enough, we just had this conversation off air the other day. That's why we brought up the Owen Gray guy. It seems like you see him everywhere, and then it goes in spurts. I know James Dean had a falling out with the industry, and he was kind of out of there. But he was the guy for a while. It seems like Owen Gray is the guy for now. Who else are some of your favorites that you've worked with?
Oh, well, like Manuel Ferreira, always. And Danny Mountain and Isaiah Maxwell, who've been in forever. They were my first two guys. So, I mean, yeah, I just know them all so well, and we have great scenes together. And And I think, yeah, like Seth Gamble's great. And he's really a guy for them. He's in everything. He does amazing. And he was in my DP. So I had a great time with him. And yeah, Mick Blue is one too, is in a lot of stuff, especially the stuff that Vixen does. And so, yeah, I have nothing but good things to say about those guys.
Anybody else that's out there that maybe you've seen some of their stuff where you call your agent or whoever and you're like, hey, can you give me that guy? That looks like a great dick right there.
You do that. But honestly, certain people who are only like contracted with another company, I can't work with. I could do it on OnlyFans and stuff if they are allowed to. But I pick the people for my scenes that I do have an attraction to and I do want to work with. So yeah, I do that all the time. I say, you know what, this scene would be great with this person. And I think I really want to work with this person. And then I get suggestions too. If I don't know about a person, maybe it's a newer performer coming up. They'll say, would you like to work with this person? And I look them up and I'm like, yeah, I mean, so yeah, I always get a say in it. So I'm happy about that.
Yeah, that's nice because sometimes you don't always do it, right? A lot of these, yeah, they don't.
Yeah, a lot of performers do not. They find out the day of, hey, I'm working with this person. Okay.
And the other thing that everybody talks about is that hygiene is a big issue where some of them have shown up and it was like, hey, this person was off the fucking rails yesterday. They don't smell or taste that great. What do you do in a situation like that?
That's an interesting one. I haven't come across it that much because like I said, I do try to pick people who are very professional and have been in the industry for a while and know how to work it. But I've had a couple instances. I mean, you really have to just grin and bear it if you're in the middle of the scene.
Oh, man.
I mean, or if you're in the middle of content or whatever, and you're like, ay, ay, ay. But I haven't had any more. I've been like physically disgusted where I could not continue on. But yeah, I mean, I would, they haven't worn deodorant as much as they should, or, they haven't cleaned down there. That's more of an issue with guys, I think. Although I have to say most of the guys in the porn industry do keep themselves like clean and well manicured and stuff. So the biggest issue I think is when the guys are not hydrated and their cum is like thick and you have to swallow it. That's, I like it when they're hydrated and they drink their juices and it's nice and I like to swallow it then. But if it's like they haven't, I don't know, they may eat a lot of meat or something.
Well, it's also thicker semen is a byproduct of having a lower sperm count as well.
Is it really?
So, yeah. So people who take TRT but don't take the other supplementary stuff like HCG and things like that,
sure,
it'll thicken up on you.
Really?
Yep.
I didn't know that. And is the juice thing true? Like pineapple juice and all that stuff?
It is kind of true. It's what you eat. Yeah. I actually, one guy I was with, he had a great cum. They want to get a good cum load too, like to have it come out a lot, not just a thick little spurt. But yeah, and he was like, I'm juicing this week and look at him. It comes so great. And it was great. It is true. It is true. It's what you eat too.
What about Ropex? Like you see the ads for Ropex online.
I don't think it's Ropex.
Is that real?
There's a different one now. I don't know what it's called.
Is that real thick ropes? Look it up.
Seminex, I think, is the one.
Oh, Seminex. Look it up, Bob. Is it Ropex? Yeah. Because I think they wanted to sponsor the show back in the day.
Yeah, but you got to take like 4 pills every day for the rest of your fucking life.
Yeah, but you get amazing ropes, apparently.
Yeah, it's Semenex volume and intensity enhancer.
Oh, it's Semenex.
And you can get it at your local Walmart.
No shit.
Although, yeah, I don't know about guys using that, but they definitely, guys will use Viagra if they've been doing, especially doing a lot of scenes to, or they'll shoot their dicks up. Certain guys shoot them up.
Harvey Weinstein was shooting his dick up. That was the thing, because the injection goes down like at the base of your cock, right?
I guess so. I haven't actually seen anybody do it in person, but they go away and do it, and some of them, and come back and
dude.
the whole time. But
I got to be honest. There's again, I'm going to bring it back to. I guess maybe I'm not the right audience or the right person to ask about this because I'm not motivated by money. But there's no amount of money you could offer me to put a needle in my cock.
I know, right?
Yep.
That would be a tough one.
And also, if you do it too much over the years, you'll have so many problems with erections later. And so the porn performers who have been in it a long time don't do that. They don't. Like, if they've been in it a long time, just doesn't, because you can't last that long if you keep shooting up your dick.
Yeah, and look, Viagra and Cialis should be enough for it. If you need a needle,
right.
if you need a needle,
right.
Shit's going south. Like I heard, like the Harvey Weinstein thing. I heard he had an accident. Like there was something seriously wrong with him, and that's why he was getting a needle to the dick. But then you have like 2 hours, which is obviously where his problems came into where it's just like, whoops, well, you got 2 hours. Got to get that massage going real quick so you can get the fuck out of here. With your book that's out everywhere, what's something everywhere? What's something in the book that people would find interesting that you might not have shared in an interview anywhere?
Oh, that's interesting. I just think that they'll find my sexual exploration interesting. I don't think a lot of that's been talked about because the Boy Meets World stuff comes up, or the White Chicks, or my early years, like on soaps and stuff, because people are known in that, and so they, people latch onto that. I think they're going to find out, like, it's interesting how my sexual path progressed, because there's a lot of anecdotes about, people I've been with and relationships that I was in. There's a lot of stuff like with women that I think people are going to be more surprised about. Maybe not, because I do a lot of stuff with women too, but I mean, I think they'll be entertained. And I think one of the things that people think, oh, it's a sex book, so it's just all about sex and drama and all this stuff. And there is a lot of that, but there's also a lot of funny stuff too. There's a lot of fun stuff, because porn and all of that can be very fun. And it's a lot of fun people, and it's not the taboo serious, like people always think it's some old guy smoking a cigarette watching this drug-infused orgy, and it's like on this dirty sound stage. It really isn't. It is like Hollywood's downstage. It's just we have sex on it, but there's a lot of funny circumstances and stuff I think people will get a kick out of.
And did you voice your own audiobook?
Yes, I did. And the audiobook has been doing so great. It was so wild to have to read your story back to yourself in a little booth.
Yeah.
I mean, I know you guys are there with your, headphones, but I was in like this little bitty booth, and the people are in the sound booth out there. And so just reading your story back to yourself is so interesting, but I had a great time doing it. It was like over like 4 or 5 days for like 5 hours a day. So, it was pretty interesting. My throat was like this at the end. I had to have throat coat tea constantly.
Oh yeah, for sure. For sure. Yeah. Audiobook is crushing. The book is out everywhere. Simon & Schuster, it's a big deal. We appreciate you being here. Now's the point in the show. We get to the Drinkin' Bro of the Week, which is someone who has inspired you or helped you become the person you are today. It can be a man or a woman. Who would you like to give the Drinkin' Bro of the Week to?
Oh, I'm going to say, who should I say? I don't know. There's so many people that inspired me. I think at the end of the day, it would be my mother, because early on, she was very conservative and stuff, but she, in recent years, she's been so supportive of like my career and everything. And I think I saw that she had missed opportunities that she wished she would have taken up, but she was too scared to. And so she is so proud of me that I was fearless in it. And I think that it inspires me to really go for my dreams and go for what I want to do, because she wasn't able to early on, and especially in the era that she lived in too. So, I guess I'll say that. That's a pat answer, but
no, that's fine.
But yeah, it's true. It's true.
Does she watch your work now?
No, she watches the acting parts of it. She doesn't watch the sex parts of it. No, but there's a lot of acting parts of it, like that are very serious, and like, the monologues I have and stuff. So, and my dad has been supportive, and people that I would never think like would really like, support my endeavors, or like, yeah, they might not watch it, like Will says,
yeah,
but they're like supporting my happiness and my success and everything that I do that I love doing.
Sure. Well, Will's a goddamn liar.
Yeah, he's a liar. He's seen it.
My dad's not though.
No, your dad probably hasn't.
Well, I don't know your dad. I don't know your dad, so I'm kidding. Who knows? Who knows? The thing Will definitely has. Let's face it. Yeah, of course he has. The thing that I like about your story in particular, before we get out of here, is it's not tragic or anything else. you made the decision just to do it because you loved it, and you're more than happy to talk about it to people, and you enjoy what you do. Whereas I think a lot of people move to LA for a different reason, and then they felt shameful of doing porn and everything else, and that's not you.
No, that's not me at all. And I really hope I bring to light that you don't have to be ashamed because you love to sexually perform, or you are in porn or in the adult industry. I hope that people see that it can be an empowering thing, and that a lot of people I know a lot of people in porn who love what they do. That's why they're doing it. It's not that they were forced into it. I'm sure of course there's tragic cases, just like there's tragic cases in Hollywood and everywhere, modeling and music industry and stuff. But honestly, there are so many people who have found a safe haven in porn because they felt other than or different in their sexuality or who they were as people, as humans. And the real taboos and stigmas happen when they leave porn and try to go back into society, and people have these preconceived notions of them and they treat them as something other than or shameful, or have these stigmas and taboos against them. And that's what hurts them. That's what causes the drug addiction and the suicide and all this terrible stuff. So I hope my book shows people, listen, it's normal. These people are normal. And, let's just let everybody live and let live however they want to, and not have these taboos anymore that harm people.
Absolutely. Well, cheers. The book is called Rated X, How Porn Liberated Me from Hollywood. It is available everywhere you get books. Amazon's the easiest. Comes to your house in about 48 hours. Or you can go to Audible and just download it immediately. She's reading the book, guys. There's no excuse. Yeah. You can have it within an hour. Even if you're without electricity, you can download it on your phone. Yeah. You're good to go.
I had a friend in Florida who said he's going to read the whole book during the hurricane.
Yeah. I mean, look, you're going to be stuck inside without electricity. You might as well listen to Maitland Ward. Yeah. Thanks for being here. Check out her book. For D'Anthony Holloway, I'm Ross Patterson. This is the Drinkin' Bros podcast.